The rain pounded against the window like a relentless heartbeat. But inside the cozy Seattle suburb home, Josephine froze mid-laugh. Her best friend Mia had just dashed out for a forgotten errand, leaving her alone in the living room with Beatrice, Mia's older sister, who leaned against the kitchen doorway, arms crossed, her dark eyes piercing through the steam rising from her coffee mug. "You know, Joe, I've always wondered why you look at me like that," Beatrice said, her voice low and laced with something raw, unspoken. It hit Josephine like a gut punch, unraveling years of buried feelings in one breath. Josephine blinked, her heart slamming against her ribs. She was 25, a graphic designer in the bustling tech scene of the Pacific Northwest, always sketching logos on napkins during late-night coffee runs. But right now, her hands trembled as she set down her phone, the screen glowing with unread messages from a date she didn't care about. The air smelled of fresh brewed espresso and faint lavender from Beatrice's shampoo, a scent that had haunted Josephine since their first accidental brush at a family barbecue 2 summers ago. "Like what?" she managed, her voice barely above a whisper, the words catching in her throat like dry leaves. Beatrice stepped closer, her bare feet silent on the hardwood floor. At 28, she was a high school English teacher, the kind who inspired kids with dog-eared copies of Whitman and Angelou. Her weekends filled with grading papers under the glow of a desk lamp. But teaching didn't pay for the quiet dreams she harbored, the ones about escaping the routine, about finding someone who saw beyond the surface. Her flannel shirt hung loose over jeans, and a stray curl escaped her messy bun, framing her face in the soft afternoon light filtering through the blinds. She sighed, a deep, weary exhale that carried the weight of hidden truths. "Like you're seeing something no one else does. Like, you want more than just friendship." The words hung in the air, thick and electric, like the charge before a thunderstorm. Josephine's mind raced back to the sleepover the night before. It was supposed to be harmless, crashing at Mia's after a girls' night out in downtown Seattle, laughing over cheap wine and old movies. But when Mia conked out on the couch, Josephine had wandered into the kitchen for water, only to find Beatrice there, insomnia etching shadows under her eyes. They'd talked for hours, voices soft against the hum of the fridge, sharing stories of heartbreak and hope. Beatrice's laugh had been like music, warm and unfiltered, and Josephine felt that pull again, the one she'd ignored for so long, buried under societal expectations and her own fears. Now, in the daylight, with birds chirping outside and the distant rumble of traffic on the I-5, everything shifted. Josephine's cheeks burned, a flush creeping up her neck. She stood, closing the distance, her sneakers scuffing the floor. I do. I have for years." The confession slipped out, raw and unpolished, tasting like freedom and terror mixed together. Beatrice's eyes widened, a flicker of surprise giving way to something deeper, relief, maybe, or recognition. She reached out, her fingers brushing Josephine's arm, sending a shiver through her like cool rain on hot skin. But doubt crashed in like waves on the Puget Sound shore. "What about Mia?" Josephine whispered, her breath hitching. "She's my best friend. Your sister. This could ruin everything." Beatrice paused, her hand lingering, the warmth seeping through Josephine's sleeve. The kitchen clock ticked loudly, a reminder of time slipping away. Outside, a car horn blared, pulling them back to reality. Beatrice's face softened, but her voice held an edge of resolve. "I've spent too long pretending, Joe. Hiding who I am because it's easier. But that one look from you last night, it changed me." Flashback to the night, the living room dim, lit only by the TV's blue glow. Mia snoring softly, oblivious. Josephine and Beatrice on the floor, knees touching, sharing a blanket that smelled faintly of fabric softener. "Tell me something real," Beatrice had said, her eyes locking onto Josephine's. And Josephine did, about her ex who never understood her, about the loneliness of late nights in her tiny apartment overlooking Lake Union. Beatrice listened, really listened, her hand accidentally grazing Josephine's thigh, igniting sparks that neither acknowledged. Until now. They moved to the backyard porch, the rain easing into a drizzle that pattered on the awning like gentle applause. Seattle's skyline loomed in the distance, misty and majestic, a backdrop to their unfolding drama. Beatrice lit a cigarette, a bad habit she swore she'd quit, the smoke curling up in lazy spirals. "I'm scared too," she admitted, her voice cracking just a fraction. "But life's too short for what-ifs. Remember that hike we took last year? Up Rattlesnake Ledge? You slipped. And I caught you. Felt like fate then. Josephine remembered, the crunch of gravel under boots. The earthy scent of pine. The way Beatrice's grip steadied her. Strong and sure. Her pulse had raced not from the fall, but from the touch. Now. She leaned in. Their foreheads almost touching. The air between them humming with possibility. One sentence. B. That's all it took. They kissed then. Tentative at first. Like testing the waters of a hidden cove. It deepened. Fueled by years of unspoken longing. Tasting of coffee and promise. The world narrowed to the feel of Beatrice's lips. Soft and insistent. Her hands cupping Josephine's face with a tenderness that made her chest ache. But reality intruded. Mia's car pulled into the driveway. Gravel crunching under tires. They pulled apart. Breaths ragged. Eyes wide with panic. We have to tell her, Josephine said. Her voice steady despite the storm inside. Beatrice nodded. Squeezing her hand. Together. Later that evening. As the sun dipped low over the Olympics. Painting the sky in fiery oranges. They sat Mia down in the living room. The air was thick with tension. The faint scent of rain-soaked earth wafting through the open window. Mia's face shifted from confusion to shock. Then softened into understanding. I suspected, she said. Her voice trembling but kind. Just be happy. Okay? That's all I want. Weeks blurred into months. Josephine and Beatrice navigated the newness, the stolen glances at coffee shops in Capitol Hill. The whispered I love yous under starry skies at Gasworks Park. Challenges came, whispers from conservative colleagues at Beatrice's school. Josephine's family back in the Midwest grappling with the news over awkward Zoom calls. But they faced it head-on. Their bond to anchor in the chaos. One night. Curled up on Josephine's couch. Rain tapping the window again. Beatrice traced patterns on her arm. That one sentence, she murmured. It wasn't just words. It was us finally seeing each other. Josephine smiled. Pulling her closer. The warmth enveloping them like a favorite blanket. In a world that often demanded conformity. They carved out their own story, one of courage. Love. And the profound change a single truth could bring. And in that quiet moment, with the city's hum fading into the background, they knew it was worth everything.